Hello and welcome back to Botcher's Battles, here today with a tutorial for RNG Reporter. I am running the latest version 9.96.5, so just go Google RNG Reporter right now. That is RNG, if you didn't hear that, stands for the random number generator, if you want to learn how to RNG. So before we start, what is RNG? Well, RNG, obviously, as I said, stands for the random number generator. Because as you should know, when you go into a wild encounter, whether that's on the grass, surfing, fishing, poker radar, it doesn't matter, whatever, the encounter will be random. You know, it'll be a random level of Pokemon, random gender, could have the Pokerus, could be shiny, random ability, random IVs, random nature. All of that's random. However, up until the 6th generation, as far as we know, well, up until the 5th generation, because we don't know how to work out the 6th generation RNG yet, there are exploits you can use within the game to guarantee yourself to get either shiny Pokemon. I'm sure there must be ways of ensuring Pokemon get the Pokerus, or specifically hatching Pokemon with specific abilities, specific natures, or perfect, or 5IV or 6IV Pokemon. And all of this, once you know this general process, can be done within 5 to 10 minutes if you're lucky at getting a seed. So once you get RNG Reporter, extract it, put it in its own folder, and open it up, and it should look like this. Now, this looks incredibly intimidating, and it terrified me to even think about it, right, to start with. Now, the general thing, there's another thing that you should try and get before you open up RNG Reporter, and that's Eon Timer. Now, what Eon Timer actually does, which looks a little bit scary, all that does is allows you to get the timing right, because the random number generator of the game depends on seeds as such. Not seeds as in growing plants, but frames of the game. And therefore, if you start the game at a certain time, at a certain date, in a certain place, you can guarantee that you will get the Pokemon that it says in RNG Reporter. And this just synchronizes with it. So, say if our target gets to 50, it will count down until, say for example, it reaches 0, then it'll beep and tell us, and will tell us what to do. So, the method that we're going to be using is Gen 5 PID RNG. So we're going to be doing it in Generation 5. So, what you've got to do first, the first thing you must do is open up Find DS Parameters in the 5th Gen tools. And you get this thing that turns out called DS Parameter Finder. Now, this is quite terrifying, but generally it's quite simple. So first of all, pick your version of the game that you're going to be using it with. It works with black, white, black 2, or white 2, although I recommend using black or white first because it's slightly easier. So, say for me, it's white. Choose your language of the game, I'm sure you know that, so mine's English. The DS type really does matter. DS Original or Lite is the best because there's only a 1-second delay on it. With DSi, it's pretty much the same, but there's a slightly bigger delay. And the 3DS isn't really recommended because there's no easy access to a ticking clock, so it's quite difficult to actually get that. DS MAC address. Now, this I'm not going to fill in because I've already done it in my own profile and it'll probably mess it up. But DS MAC address. To get your DS MAC address, I recommend opening up your game on. Well, if you're using a DS or DS-Lite, open up your game, and on the main menu, just before like continue new game, go on like internet connection settings, and in there, if you go in options, you'll find your DS MAC address. Just put it in here. Ignore this held buttons thing for now. That's just used for some of the seeds which require you to hold buttons to actually hit them. I think on the DSi, by the way, the DS MAC address is just found in the system settings. So it says here, enter the IVs of the Pokemon encountered using Sweet Scent immediately after loading the game. So before you start this process, catch any Pokemon with Sweet Scent. I use Surskits from White Forest, or Masquerains. You can also use Maractus is another very, very good one that you can get quite early in the game. Doesn't matter, just have a Pokemon with Sweet Scent in your party. Another Pokemon I'd recommend is either 1 or 2 Chatots that have the move Chatter, and I will explain that to you later on. So just make sure you get those before you start. Right, now you've gone and got your Sweet Scent Pokemon, go to whatever route you want to. Well, I recommend going to the route that you want to get the Pokemon from, because we're going to just be doing it in standard encounters and not eggs. So, say, I don't know, say for example, take route 3 for example. If you go there, get your Pokemon Sweet Scent and walk into the grass, like in the middle of a massive patch of grass, because there's like a few right near the daycare. Now, as soon as you enter into the grass, open up your Pokemon menu and make sure you have a Pokemon with Sweet Scent in your party. Now, save the game and turn your DS off. Right, then turn your 3DS back on, and immediately after loading the game, don't press any buttons when it's loading up on that game until it comes up with the Game Freak logo and it smashes into the ground, that thing. Press A then, start the game, and immediately open up your Pokemon menu, and you get your Pokemon to use Sweet Scent. This will trigger a wild encounter if you're in an area that allows that. And immediately, you should catch that Pokemon, whatever it is, if it's a Blitzel, Pattrap, whatever, and make sure you have space in your party to view it. Now, when you've caught that Pokemon, you can use this nice tool here, calculate IV some stats. So let's say, for example, we've got a Blitzel. Yep. And it just happens to be, I don't know, an adamant nature. So make sure you know the Pokemon and its nature. The characteristics just come into it, so it likes to thrash about, for example, level 15, whatever, and you just put your stats in exactly as you read them. So put in the Pokemon, nature, characteristic, and stats. You click check IVs. Obviously, this one's invalid, but it will check your IVs, the values of your Pokemon stats. Once you've done that, you just implement that. Sometimes you get a range from, like, say, 5 to 10. If you get any more of a range than 5, I would recommend doing it again because you probably started up your DS too early or too late. But, okay, if you get anything, if all of your variables are in the range about 3 to 5, or even, if you're really lucky, get one that's guaranteed to be a certain stat, like 30 or 31, just put it all in here. And then what you do now is you set a time. So you can choose any time, it doesn't matter, any date. So I could, for example, choose January 16th, 2014, 10:34, and I recommend about 30 seconds to allow for delay. If you start at 0 seconds, as soon as you set the time on your DS to this time, you would have to turn it off and turn it back on, which takes a few seconds anyway. So 30 seconds allows you time to brace yourself and get the timing exactly right, okay? So once you've done that, you send your results to your profile. Now, it'll prompt you to put in a profile, so put in like your trainer name, your trainer ID, which can be found on your trainer card, DS MAC address, that sort of stuff, and most importantly, Shiny ID. Now, the way I work out Shiny ID is quite simple. What I do for Shiny ID is I go on this website called pokercheck.org. Now, if you go on here, make an account, add this DNS into your internet settings. So if you go on your internet, there'll be, in your connections, there'll be an option to say auto-obtain DNS. If you click no, put this DNS in, and you'll be connected to the PokerCheck GTS. Now, what you do now is you upload any Pokemon. I recommend just a Pokemon you don't really want. So say a Pidgey that you've caught. You upload that, and it will give me an error like this Pokemon can't be offered for trade, and you disconnect. Then what you can do now, for example, if I sign in, okay, so blah. Right, now if you go in, manage my Pokemon, you'll see that there's Pokemon in here that I've uploaded. Most of these are hacked. And my most recent one was expired. These are from ages ago. Say if you open this up, this is obviously hacked. But yeah, you'll see this thing here, secret ID. Now this obviously is just 000 because this is hacked. But if this is a legitimate Pokemon, your secret ID will come up here. The secret ID is needed for you to calculate shiny Pokemon or to make more accurate seeds. And once you save the profile, that's nice and simple. And now you can use the time finder. So once you've got that, you set up your IVs, you set your date and time, you've got your Chatots ready, and they both have chatter, or at least one of them has chatter. You can use one, I recommend one to start with, but two will be good when you start later on. You're in a route that you want to encounter a Pokemon in. Yeah, and you've got your DS MAC address, all of your settings are put in, time's right, click Time Finder, 5th generation. And this will open up this. Now this is what you're going to be using for most of the time. So say for example my configuration is shiny, so I have my MAC address, version, my ID, shiny ID, and don't press around this timer 0 and all that stuff, that's complicated. Right. So say for example, I'm wanting a standard seed. Well, we're not going to be using the sea gear. It's important that when you start the game, you turn off the sea gear, because the sea gear will manipulate it, okay? So just press no to the sea gear. And we want a wild Pokemon. You can use it while surfing, but we'll just stay with the wild Pokemon for now. Encounter slots. Now, this is a weird mechanic, but you can easily get around this. If you go in 5th Gen Tools, you can go for a black or white encounter table. So for me, it'd be a white encounter table. And I'll open up this, eggmove.com. So basically, what an encounter slot is as I said, each Pokemon's random. For a Pokemon to be randomly generated, it has to encompass a certain slot of data. So, for example, the Abundant Shrine, Vulpix takes up encounter slot 0 at level 47. Chimecho takes up encounter slot 1 at level 47. And, you know, they take up all the slots from about 0 to 12. So, for example, if you were trying to look for, I don't know, a 5 or 6 feet modest Petalil, you'd be going for encounter slot 2. Did it take up any other ones? No, just 2. So you'd be going for encounter slot 2, for example. So there you go, yeah, you have encounter slot 2, and that's your Petalil, like that. So it just depends on what you're looking for, you just put the number in that corresponds to it. The best one to really use is Victory Road, because it's like 1, 3, 0. No, 1, 3, and 6. 1, 3, 6, 8 are Durant. So let's put that in here. So I would recommend going to somewhere like Victory Road, or somewhere that doesn't have many encounterable Pokemon. It just makes the whole process easy to learn. So put that in. That's Durant's encounter slots, okay? Min frame 1, max frame 1 is recommended. It just means that it doesn't vary, basically. So then you basically have to put in what you actually want. So I'm wanting a 5v1. So we want 31 HP, 31 in attack. So these are IVs. 31 defense, 31 special defense, and 31 speed. We don't care about special attack because we're not going to be using it. If we try and generate that now, it might come up with something. It will come up with this box here, Time Finder Progress, and it will literally search millions and millions of Pokemon. So say for example, didn't get anything in that month. Ability. Try for ability. Well, we don't really care about ability. Nature, however, we do want as adamant, so we'll put that in as well. Now let's generate again. So we've got any adamant natured 5 IV Durants we can get in the first month of 2015. So just keep changing the calendar, because at some day, all of this figure will correspond to all of these stats you put in here. So I'm just going to select all the months because it makes it a lot quicker. So now we're checking all 12 months of 2015. Every single day of all 12 months. Every single possible encounter. Could I get a 5 IV Durant? No, not in 2015. So we go for a different day. 2016. Doesn't matter whether it's in the past or the future. At all, really. It doesn't make any difference. Just put in different years and different months until you end up with a result. So we'll just wait for that one. Just look at that number. It's literally skimming through every possible encounter. So it may take some time. And I don't recommend having multiple things open or multiple tabs open or whatever while you're doing this, unless your PC processor is incredible, because it does use up a lot of your computer's RAM when it's searching through the Time Finder. So, oh, we found a seed. Awesome. I think it's the same seed that I've hit before, but no matter. Right. So here is our seed. Doesn't matter. Well, this bit does matter. That's the seed that we need to copy and paste in a minute. So frame 1, so as soon as a certain time, we have a 31 HP, 31 attack, 31 defense, 28 special attack, which isn't that bad, 31 special defense, 31 speed, adamant Durant, hidden power electric, we don't really care, 59 power, timer 0 and key, so we've got no key presses. Sometimes it say key press like Y or R. In that case, you just hold the button until the Game Freak, you know, like when you start the game, hold the button until the Game Freak logo turns up and then let go of it. Timer 0, just keep that as ordinary. we've got our date and time. So we've got the 5th of May 2017 at 12:24 in exactly 26 seconds we would get this. So what you do is you go into your DS times, you set your DS clock to the 5th of May. So you just change that, and then you set it to 12:24. And then what you do here, I would recommend go into Eon Timer, put your target seconds as 26. Now as soon as you set the time as 12:24, right, you will literally have to wait exactly 26 seconds, although I recommend about 24-25 because the DS lags a bit before it loads up the game. Then press A, don't press any buttons till the Game Freak logo turns up, and when you start the main game, don't start up the C gear, but then just go straight to start the game in whatever location you want to look for your Pokemon, and use Sweet Scent and try and initiate an encounter. Right, now what you do here, if you want to be even more specific, copy your seed to the clipboard and go into here, set your method to Gen 5 PID RNG. Oh, you can use synchronizers, by the way, because there's 50% chance of passing on certain nature. That makes it a bit easier on the thing itself. And just obviously just paste your seed in here, calculate your initial frame, and generate. Right, this is where the Chatots come into play. Now, as you can see here, you're like, what is this? What does all of this mean? Now, it's actually quite simple, okay? All you really need to know about this is that your Chatot needs to have chatter. Teach it any cry with chatter. You know, I recommend something like a beeping noise because you can easily tell the pitch. Because Chatot's pitch of cry will vary from low to high. So our starting frame here is 40. That's important. So set it as 40. Okay. Now, so we've got to bear in mind, I would at least recommend going about 10-15 frames away from your starting frame because it will be almost impossible to hit that. So let's go with 54, shall we? Now for 54, you will need 14 low Chatot cries. So what you have to do is you'd have to start up your game at, what time was it? 5th of the 5th, 2017 to 12:24:26, and immediately start flicking through. Just listen to your Chatot's cry, switch to another Pokemon's cry, listen to your Chatot's cry, and if you get 14 low cries in a row, then you've hit seed number 54. Yeah, so if you get 14 low cries, you hit seed number 54. Then immediately, don't listen to any more Chatot cries, initiate a Sweet Scent, go into an encounter. If you get a Durant, that's a high chance. And if you use a Synchronizer, that makes it even easier to get the Adamant nature. But if you hit your seed exactly right, and you've got the right Chatot cries, when you catch that Pokemon, it should have good stats. And obviously what you can do then is you can use an IV calculator with the nature or stats of the Pokemon, put them in, and if you hit the frame right, it will have the exact same stats, nature, and whatever that you put into the RNG Reporter, and it's literally that simple. So pretty much once you put your settings in once, all you have to do when you boot it up is go into Time Finder, choose what kind of seed you want, and the encounter slots, so whatever that is, pick out your IVs and nature, keep generating for about 5 minutes until you find the right seed, and then just try and hit the seed. And obviously bear in mind though you have to get the right amount of Chatot cries. So for example, for cries of 54, for frame 54, starting frames 40, do 54 take 40, so 14 Chatot cries. Or like, if our starting frame was 56, we do 56 take 40, which would be, of course, 16 Chatot cries. Just bear that in mind, and then you initiate your Sweet Scent and get an encounter. If you have any questions about RNG, please leave them in the comment section below. As soon as I got my camcorder up and ready, I can do a step-by-step full tutorial for you. But basically, that's all it is. So you put your settings in, pick your method, pick your encounter type, set your date and abilities and whatever, keep going through till you get a seed, copy and paste it into here, calculate your initial PID RNG frame, find a frame that seems alright to you, take away the initial frame from it, and that's the amount of chatot coins you have to listen to, and it has to be that pitch, otherwise you haven't hit the seed. Use sweet scent, bam, there you go, you have got whatever Pokemon you want. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It is a very complicated process, bearing in mind, specifically though, most of it's just setting it up, making sure you've got your Chatots and your sweet centers and putting in all your stats and all of that. But as I said, once you set it up once, it's just a 5-minute process of scanning through potential seeds with encounter slots, and then just making sure you hit your frame with the right amount of Chatot coins, and you can pretty much get any Pokemon you want. You can do this with shiny Pokemon, but this is a bit more complicated. In fact, a lot more complicated. And the similar process occurs with eggs as well, except you need to know your the parents' IVs and put those in instead. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Botches Battles out, and remember to leave any comments or questions in the comment section below, and I will be willing to answer them. Okay, bye.